Oni avdeme Jesus Christos, amen. Haime vohegines sub yesianunko, yegeseaga akausunko, yehesigamko, vobesigines hegi, us hasmes hamena zodumes so, yetomes us badisme, vobesimeng tuun meut, badabanant, ye midan yes mesi position, Aipegialos mesi share. Zikoe akausun yebsosun yepakabidianes amen. Yesas was katasi yemnalo ayin segut. Yivat hein yebi hasawata. Spasi yasoi mo yevagununga ingena in bobegeles hasu yebgesane. Pako yebodvo yeboquinsepo. Aizum je mice vavidianes avinit amen. Jebjebos audianes te avse sukengage svoje bohomja. Onusun je pak hoje vodvoje vokvince po. Aizum je mice vavidianes avinit amen. Koyan eso de zunko yevlain zia kage de angemes. Bayadansınim subteye paga Özaesko asfasim boyge sudasa Omeain steziage daga agasi zanabat Oaga zansın zayko ziyakez de hamasi zansınim Situ de kasib uyez Hazon vo amenetan Vogadanan kez Uganti de atisimot, sevne yevnayay sangaravasimot. Havu nevadyayim ogadesiyake, sevlaayins. Dvots voket namanke tasvasuste, yet vots voket bobesis kotusko. Zavayan asvasa ay yekesin yevegi pasen avasiko, yevavot ansen tanunga avidyan. Vesis tu yevanes faselis, yevtumi aynes asfat. Außen ja nicht sieht, ich Janeva in Kunjev Kanan Yinsi Jasmanyankum, Yeva Agrisim Yevasel Hamanegum, Kozvane Zakiste Asvasim Polopsalibimov, Havelan Ansendan Kahabidyan, Meset Ivaim Bomuchun Gode, Yevogazen Dasimi Dodognots, Asvasane Kayani Vaim Yibzobos Ansendansen Kolesendansenim, In vortames honest Christus Vater Altude aspasim katasies jem bohamat, Jegnana mit pasum jemstus maninaya eins jem bohamia eins, Tu so schön daiko gesozo di amoko, Jeva eins nutzan pautjan, Deseng ane jem jev amesesen, Si tude onesi si jebim magika ensis, Pakoye bodvoye bokun sabot, Aizum je misa vavidianes habit mit samen. Pakes as vas. Pakes. Pakes amenaini de pakes. Jevjevos audianes te oze sugangages svoje bohomja. Onusun je pak. Je bud punsa po. Aizum je mit. Je vavidianes habit mit samen. Ave soziste monosoe ane abinaye pagyazis. Koesan zane usunisine soyan so amen aymare tane badahas. Sevensim ösletan goyans pobe sosi. Yeptungi sisi koksosas nosa. Pagyazistes iseas meaboi yemimandosa ve pagyazis. Koesan kame otskanatasim, takusan ankamavat vohakaidins, la sogeden vokait voditsimot, sunchusan vokimam yetenis kayarusun, azasi delkasim yestu ungantide saniyavadizimot, tede zosun kogudyanimo hovani koloimo avu barazme, mimandezis, te isangusun meabat, Koesan vasanim, mion vahagenesis, zimi yepek pasasin yevonosa, mi gadvasen vasas gadasinosa, was dakšen čančujans, zageseus nosa, ansesim veanus hojoyev gangeseus nosa, idavan anasmi gorasen gyal madole danomi ausen ibeayegi, zamea voksa yubose iniguhut, sanyazi sanesta detalastin, ankadi yev ivavunutungangi, antakuasan zavanekume, Kurangesi ui awesi yehetatskot Tegadisya keseloin nayai Isaina ujizemos ikadali mumanges Uigisi kawagim bobesongawasi gode Habum sumasasimos barahagi hegoi Tide baban peanoimo yeptuamusun chansimot Zimi gorisi sirim panipsa utyan Ibazevelos mananet mehazon mades volkosen zanet zanivutsun yebotsesen Yesol ondelos nosa Koyanese sisan tag homyami pantima awase Yumergoi mi ozokoloki mi awoking gamasna Ae kagen mes abe mitada bok nosa lusesen panis imosem kazasim Vopes tazusun hujosis fare ibaegi sovesen voskeno names itozohot akes de yet askini kesutasa temihane hokihine payazi ho kai votatu savins ikaidorene kozasin saneusun ansens isanus noa meavok mianyem yes mi se vansit Sani bimo yesede gadasi, sani bimo hose ahadasi. Sobesis awasi fyanan sa odazim, yevas ne utsunasim awasi na badmezis. Inovanel hinne holpoimo trude sanya sabizazim, ilchana baho yem konazit kandus sabins vohakait. Hayve hatme yev desaneni yev bozvoge dvochane sezis. Ages yakes dege vadesi. Tude yusye pazimi hegines gendanans nayade odesim yes parasik. Jesus avesusi halachasimot zi hozoyeden kansis dehanye pane zansanim kohanam zavanekume yevkes pasenatang min sepansuses pakoye vodvoye vogunsopo aizim ve mitsebavidian sabidinitsamen Onyade for pak yak yesi passionisi vanyave pak pejodan ko bohasele selus aburosi passionisi hegnis luisa geste onda me angelos ae sa kagun lusodo de bizyan oso sinon yevtatelos lusodo kiseo yevetu zaki to yestus kabe subi vala avasin lusoni ken paran kavan yevetus ko gentani de sagya isiresme making a panel sukunyale anun shubat first ken kesin solution yevas paulus Holy would Quince of Coizing and meets of Idianas of the meats. Amen. Hatchachi Jam Yegoit. Amen. I can't have one of the sellers me, power and much because the was me. Both of the same as the divas of Yama Asadonem. Ye wasn't Jam Yegoit. Other all as men district the strips and the first of West Pagania Coco Panus and Mason and John and Asazo. Amnegali gesoye bohomya, gesode ye bohomya. Onar men de adus me ozmenzi bohomyankum. Asa suka mene kyan mi abanujam. De bohomya, de bohomya, de bohomya. Atsya chidam ye goit. Amene kyan antakta kahabolem Hai, Yevzoti, Yevsubakit, eyes of your meat, Yevavidianas, Havidenit. Amen. Kasusun, Oe ontaikum, de uspanikum, Kasies tu de Yevskun, Kusut Yankov, Koadiazis. A reading from the book of Genesis. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generations. Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence to them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of garber wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and outside with pitch. And this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. You shall make a window for the ark, and you shall finish it to a cubit from above, and set the door of the ark in his sight. You shall make it with lower, second, and third decks. And behold, I myself am bringing flood waters on the earth, to destroy from under heaven all flesh, in which is the breath of life. Everything that is on the earth shall die. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall go into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you, and of every living thing of all flesh you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark, to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. Of the birds after their kind, of animals after their kind, and of every creeping thing on the earth after its kind. 2 of every kind will come to you to keep them alive. And you shall take for yourself all of the food that is eaten, and all shall gather it to yourself. And it shall be food for you and for them. Then the Lord said to Noah, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. You shall take with you 7 each of every clean animal, a male and his female, 2 each of animals that are unclean, a male and his female, and 7 each of birds of the air, male and female, to keep the spices alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I will cause it to rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And I will destroy from the face of the earth of the all living things that I have made. And Noah did according to all that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. So Noah, with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives, went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of clean animals, of animals that are unclean, of birds, and of everything that creeps on the earth, 2 by 2 they went into the ark to Noah, male and female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah and Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, entered the ark. They and every beast after its kind, or cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark to Noah, 2 by 2, of all flesh in which is the breath of life. So those that entered, male and female, of all flesh, went in as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. Now the flood was on the earth 40 days. The waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it was high above the earth. The waters prevailed and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters, and the waters prevailed exactly on the earth, and all the high hills under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. And every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life, or that was on the dry land, died. So he destroyed all living things which were on the face of the ground, both men and cattle, creeping thing and bird of the air. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark remained alive. And the waters prevailed on the earth only 150 days. Then God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the animals that were with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were also stopped, and the rain from heaven was reinstated, and the waters receded continually from the earth. At the end of the 150 days, the waters increased. Then the ark rested in the 7th month, the 17th day of the month, on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen. So it came to pass at the end of the 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. Then he sent out a raven, which kept going to and fro until the waters had dried up from the earth. So he put out his hand and took her, and drew her into the ark to himself. And he waited yet another 7 days. And again he sent the dove out from the ark. Then the dove came to him in the evening, and behold, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in her mouth. And Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. So he waited yet another 7 days, and sent out the dove, which did not return again to him any more. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the 1st month, the 1st day of the month, that the waters were dried up from the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and indeed the surface of the ground was dry. And in the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dried. And God spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ark, you and your wife, and your sons and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you everything of all flesh that is with you, birds and cattle, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, so that they may be abound on the earth, and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wives and his sons' wives with him. Every animal, every creeping thing, every bird, and whatever creeps on the earth, according to the families, went out of the ark. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took of every clean animal and of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a soothing aroma. Then the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake, although the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Nor will I destroy every living thing, as I have done. While the earth remains, seedtime and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, and day and night shall not cease. So God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be on every beast of the earth, on every bird of the air, on all that move on the earth, and on all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hand. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. I have given you all things, even as the green herbs. But you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. Surely for your lifeblood I will demand a reckoning. For the hand of every beast I will require it, and from the hand of man. From the hand of every man's brother I will require the life of men. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood shall be shed. For in the image of God he made man. And as for you, be fruitful and multiply. Bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply in it. Then God spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And as for me, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the cattle, and every beast of the earth with you, of all that go out of the ark, every beast of the earth. Thus I establish my covenant with you. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood. Never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, This is the sign of the covenant. Which I made between me and you and everything and every creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. It shall be, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in the cloud, I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. The waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. The rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I will look on it to remember the everlasting covenant between God and every creature of all flesh that is on the earth. And God said to Noah, This is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. A reading from the book of Proverbs. Wisdom has built her house. She has hewn out her 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her meat. She has mixed her wine. She has also furnished her table. She has sent out her maidens. She cries out from the highest places of the city, Whoever is simple, let him turn in ear. As for me, who lacks understanding, she said to him, Come, eat of my bread and drink of the wine I have mixed. Forsake foolishness and live, and go in the way of understanding. He who corrects a scoundrel gets shamed for himself, and he who rebukes a wicked man only harms himself. Do not correct a scoundrel, lest he hate you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. For by me your days will be multiplied, and years of life will be added to you. If you are wise for yourself. And if you are swift, you will bear it all. You will bear it alone. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knows nothing. For she sits at the door of her house to call to those who pass by. Whoever goes straight on their way, whoever is simple, let him turn and hear. And as for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he does not know that the dead are there, that our guests are in the depths of hell. A wise son makes a glad father, but a foolish son is the grief of his mother. Treasures of witnesses profit nothing, but righteousness delivers from death. The Lord will not allow the righteous sword to famish, but he casts away the desire of the wicked. He who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. He who gathers in summer is a wise son. He who sleeps in harvest is a son who causes shame. Blessings are the heat of the righteous, but violence covers the mouth of the wicked. A reading from the prophet Isaiah. O Zion, you who bring good tidings, get up into the high mountain. O Jerusalem, you who bring good tidings, lift up your voice with strength. Lift it up, be not afraid. Say to the cities of Judah, behold your God. Behold, the Lord God shall come with a strong hand, and his arm shall rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. He would feed his flock like a shepherd. He would gather to the lambs with his arm, and carry them in his bosom, and gently lead those who are with young, who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, measured heaven with a span, and calculated the dust of the earth in a measure, weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance, who has directed the Spirit of the Lord, or as his counsel has taught him. With whom did he take counsel, and who instructed him, and taught him in the path of justice? Who taught him knowledge, and showed him the way of understanding? Behold, the nations are as a deep in a bucket, and are counted as the small dust on the scales. Look, he lifts up the isles as a very little thing, and Lebanon is not significant to burn, nor its beast significant for a burnt offering. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted by him less than nothing and worthless. 우리 씨가 아오킴 법의 성감하시거든 어멈수만 사주고 바라게 하거이 예비가 서리하는 수요 수숙 어서 숙자만간 어서 사이디하며 이즈기저시 어스타가 원하나와리하나 그 사우야니 맞선미아이노수 달에게 예발가가 내게 에스보 지하반수 아마 사우리암 다스메스 어스메 예부스타가 원하사와그사와그스메스 아스미시슈미 아바나야마니우 Osbelas kavaga çocuğuruz, kolugu çocuğuruz, muzu yeteriz mağaran bağısı. Kevzamen ayın bağırız münesütü boyun kuyaret seyimet. Te amenen gali kezde boğmesi. Kesode. Diyorsun diyalip çev jaşi gal ki sevi savri amazıdan Allah havanur. Kya ne konusuk. Snoyade. Östa kavran babanın sans mehut. Ya ne konusuk. Snoyade. Öso ko kaçın ve sevga hocanın sonunu sansmıyor. Sidyanne konusuk snoyade. Ye uzme ban basın düzmenin yipso baba düzme. Oste avuzasuk. Te bohemia. Zansin düzme yevezüm yani istiyanın aso. Amen galinin hansan avusuk. Kes diyanın hansan yehisuk. Bohemiazmen de yazısmeyazmen zik. Bohemi ankum. Fasasuk amenekyan mi abanut yam. De bohemia. Dusan ismelos de alfasme, unkazanı sanısme. Os habam sumun saatmelos yevatpana zavatit. Sopelo zigo iba agasme. Ihudan anosit ihazus kezbar advasdel. Havelimes de amena galus avat. Vuhui suse. Yev. Zamen ein kolos avakinodjan, po besiot kamaskos pa eseas miskodevariak, pa basinam videve yevi kisei, azanavasug yehisug haakasan sansmelot kogodjan, yevasin hokivol kenansas avasulos kesde, yev konan nevi kensonos yev zohmusun, yev konan lo papa nesugas hai yev soti yev subakit, aizum yev misupavityanes havidenit saven, havutsu namenasun. Yebon hoguikum. Astu zoyegi bakasuk, havasi koder. Kesegi bakın opte azvasme, kahanam busken havaga savadyan vasasanlo imes ziga usun jovadyanes. Tumeste avasum kaskes, ziga setsa sikat kisui saans meat, yev haent kadadyan asusanev. Astu gonyali manavi havati huisise, yebi bayoranko. Koyon lobo savuçun amenayn askoi yev yegez vokum support us hasaralusun yeva sansmelos us puguchun obesyon dolobiken was hasvalsme yevesmes vasaragan papanusun misi pasunus avake suk amenazo devjan Christos asvasme aizum yemitse vavidyanas Habidenit sammen. Shubas Sobiev Azo Sobiev Ama Voyegie Kalosies Vomiames Shubas Sobiev Azo Sobiev My Christos is Manos me vorvogo devastus Porque las mezi por el llevan magits melots. Je bevas audianus osus suk. Passanas liris dianenas so. Saini avasanas melots. Haigurudam subhadhasas mim. Je bisamen oivamis bomunyanis kuriyan dianenas so. Amen. God has me. This hoye bohemia. So de bohemia, de bohemia, de bohemia. Onusun ye pak. Hoye bod guinsapo. Aizum ye mitje pavitianes habidenitsamen. Kamba suisansimelin. Ustiege sinzong sun, Ome sunisidiane yegese, Vagese dievzegi, Vida junun ko, Yemino sevavanko, Obesi bosikum yeta, Bavani chaevi, De balsenases, Ebte oda ungasi atsun sabuniuk, Ave kageni devestes, Yemino sinigi kisahi, Tebalsenos gezamanatae, balsende zanko, Tebalsenos muzibzeko, haisam elemixem havidian, Pakoye vodvoye vokwensapo, haisam emisa havidianes havidinitsamen. Pasis ansihim ireins, ustie gesei no son snoiam es delas nocionant imas tungus anans yet hoc pots meots laudeos vazazo Jeging siliken Debzautial ibadas javuin Zamenan selop Jetervot Kidemos se Ozam kaspaok Otadel zeos diezeos amenain snoia jehmes delogal I amen kume pasin mes tun vomodian egna bol Pesasain Yemotsogi avagat animasun gugusan sanans Pako yevodbo yevoguin sapo Jamane sugons Avat pesasayin Yemozogi avakat no Zimi mozuk askvo besima Gus Vavi, Tiata Videni Amen. By the Sinabrel, O God's meot, ye pas mesuses, pas mesons avial, Igosum anca Julian, Yegni. Vasten hout jana mejan aspige fasianse boyus mo, vaste avse suk, vaste suka me amne kian mi apanu job. Debohonia, Haikutats payamo aich. Amen ein azut. Alles von alles ist kurz zusammen hier goit. Buona, yes. And Aminasian Pakiko Payanko, Bohemiande Aminan Archkoi, here begins Vokum support Hivatans, Vostas a lot, Sanabotas, Navatas, Kostavanatata, Apaskanatas, Yafokos, and Hangos a lot. Sie today, Aminagad Kididus, os Velasme, Evas Kaidus, Avavel Kanso, Pernem Devi Maranam, Yevkeson Vovo, Yev Aminasubul. Weil Part ist von je Badiv, I som je mit, je Habidianes, Habide nicht sammeln. Orkes de Ambadis Ansonim, als Rosi Winges, Usa Sazi Amesin, je mit, sie Asesenus, sie Temptos Amesin, Ameset Amenekian, wo Hampas Enges mi, Amasesin Amesin Aokid Ana Nutian Jujans Zansana Balos Godes Sus ins Jevos Javidos Kohunsins Aos Nutiani Zinsos Maniankum Jevo Gisie Zituyes Aswas Kogisim Jevieskes Hampasi Zananabas İçyade zolusun koyeb zomusun koyez habidenit. Alleluia oti avuçun amenesun Yevonog voikum Jegazulam Novak, so poviranis Isusi Gisusi volos, Madeosi. Oges de las vasme, tuos gume, haseas vas. Teneme Jesus Christos. Then Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came up to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said to them, Do you not see all these things? Assuredly I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another, that shall not be thrown down. Now as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age? And Jesus answered and said to them, Take heed that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. see that you are not troubled. For all these nations that must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in various places, and these are the beginnings of sorrows. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation, and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Then many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many, and because loneliness will abound, the love of many will go cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. And the gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. Therefore, when you see the announcement of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, whoever reads, let them understand. Then let those who are in Judah flee to the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not go down to take anything out of his house. And let him who is in the field not go back to get his clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant, and to those who are nursing babies in those days, and pray that your flight would not be in winter or on the Sabbath. For then there will be great tribulation, such as not been seen since the beginning of the world until this time, no ever shall be, unless those days were certain of flesh who would be saved. But for the elect's sake those days will be shortened. Then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. Therefore, if they say to you, Lord, look, he is in the desert, do not go out. Or look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will be the coming of the Son of Man be. Wherever the carcass is, the angels will be gathered together. There the eagles will be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So you also, when you see all these things, know that it is near at the doors. Certainly I say to you, this generation will by no means pass till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away. But of that day and hour no one knows, no, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. For as the days of Noah, so also will be the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days before the flood, they will be drinking and eating, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and did not know until the flood came and took them all away. So also will be the coming of the Son of Man be. That then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and the other left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and the other left. Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, who his master made ruler over his household, to give them food in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Certainly I say to you, that he will make him ruler over all the things, over all his goods. But if that evil servant says in his heart, my master is delaying his coming, and begins to beat his fellow servants, and to drink and eat with the drunkards, the master of that servant will come on a day when he is not looking for him, and at an hour that he is not aware of, and will cut him in two, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be wiping and gnashing of teeth. Then the kingdom of heaven shall be likened to 10 virgins who took their lamps, and went out to meet the bridegroom. Now 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. Those who were foolish took their lamps, and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in the vessels with the lamps. But while the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight a cry was heard, behold, the bridegroom is coming, go out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and to him their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the wise answered, saying no less, there shall be enough for us and you, but go rather to those who sell, and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding, and the door was shut. Afterward, the other virgins came also, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, assuredly I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man is coming. For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants, and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability, and immediately went on his journey. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded them, and made another 5 talents. And likewise he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received one went and dug in the ground, and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of these servants came and settled accounts with them. So he who had received 5 talents came and bought 5 other talents, saying, Lord, you delivered to me 5 talents. Look, I've gained 5 talents besides them. His Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You who were faithful over a few things, I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. He also, who had received 2 talents, came and said, Lord, you delivered to me 2 talents. Look, I have gained 2 more talents besides them. His Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you rule over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Then he who had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid, and went and hid your talent in the ground. Look there, you have what is yours. But his Lord answered and said to him, You wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reaped when I had not sown, and gathered where I have not scattered seed. So you ought to deposit my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received back my own with interest. So take the talent from him, and give it to him who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away, and cast the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, when the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the holy angels with him. Then he will sit on the throne of his glory. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides the sheep from the goats. And he will set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then the king will say to those on his right hand, Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in person, and you came to me. Then the wisest will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and gave you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick, or in person and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, Assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the less of these my brethren, you did it to me. Then he will also say to those on the left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you did not take me in. Naked, and you did not clothe me. sick and in prison, and you did not visit me. Then they will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister to you? Then he will answer them, saying, certainly, as I say to you, inasmuch as you did not do it, one of the last of these, you did not do it to me. And these will go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. Now it came to pass, when Jesus had finished all these sayings, that he said to his disciples, you know that after 2 days is the Passover, and the Son of Man will be delivered up to be crucified. Sconce su cavador upon the ambidianes, Zizio manianus nociu, our Savior me, te amen, God gives us save our mercy. Yes, Jan und Ganganie precis und sans melot Christos und was mehr. Parocial Bayal und so wurde und hoben ja. So wie Babagan Fasukovi Howard Jan und Jan heavily in der Buttes da wollen. Also aber ja Korder Jan aber ja das geht wo ich so wollen. Also mir müsste Babian ist aber nicht amen. Und ja dem Jesus Christus amen. Heimel wo hygienes jetzt. Subiesian unko, Yegese Akausunko, Yehesiganko, Bobesegin Sefagi, Us Hatsmes Hominazot, Tumes Iso, Yiptomis Parisme, Bobesimim Tun Miots Barbanans, Yemidani es Messiposun, Ipagialis Messisoe, Zikoi Akausun Yepsosun Yepa Kaviganas Samen, on Yakivukis Nasubukwain Taikausun. Give the years, he says, and Amen. Sons and may all be blessed by the grace of the Holy Spirit. The upon peace and may our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ be with you all. Amen. I thought something was said.